Good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the promotion ceremony today for the Fargo Police Department. We have a number of high-quality individuals that will be promoted today to help make our department even better than we are now. At this time, I'd like to call upon the Fargo Police Honor Guard to post the colors. Please rise. All right, thank you. You may be seated. Actually, if I could have you one more second here. Join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now you may be seated. This time I'd like to welcome Fargo Police Chief David Zabolski.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to a really exciting and big day here at the Fargo Police Department. I'd like to recognize our elected officials and dignitaries that are here, our honor guard, our department staff, and the new members of our command and supervision team. If you just want to quickly stand when I call your name so everyone can see who you are. Michael Sandin, Matt Christensen, Michael Bernier, Shane Aberly, going to be our new lieutenant promotees, and being promoted to sergeant, Travis Berger, Lucas Mock, Michael Anderson, Alden Golos, and Jennifer Gustafson. Thanks, folks. Please be seated. Appreciate all of your efforts, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second and taking this next big step in your career. Most importantly, I also want to recognize your families, who I'm sure had a large part in formulating some of your success, right? So I got to meet briefly some parents and wives and spouses and things, kids, all that great stuff. And that all has a big part in our success, because the work that we do requires a lot of effort and commitment. It requires a lot of time. That puts strains on families a lot of times, and without their support, understanding, flexibility, we may not be in a position to take those next steps in an organization. So thanks to all of the families here in support of these members. You've done an excellent job on developing some really great future leaders for our department. Before I continue on with my remarks, I would like to introduce you to our mayor, Dr. Timothy Mahoney.
Good morning. I always love promotions, because when you have promotions, it means something. And for many of these people who are being promoted today, I remember when you started, when you were just green at this item going forward. And I want you to think about how much you've grown over the last years working in the department, facing different challenges that you face when you go out in the field. I always remember when I first became a doctor, I think I was pretty smart. And then one day a lady fainted in the hallway. And of course, everybody looks at you and says, what's he going to do? What's going to happen? What's happening here? Is there something serious? And I'm thinking, what the heck's wrong with her? I don't know. What do I do? Do I have a mirror? Maybe I put a mirror by her nose and see if she's breathing. Maybe I try something I've seen in the movies or something like that. And it took a while because then they all start staring at you and wonder what you're going to do, what's going to happen. Thank God she woke up from her faint, and I was real bright, and I was sitting there going, I don't think I was too bright on this one. But what you want to think about is, you remember the first time you were in the field and you were doing something with a person trying to either stop or calm down or get them to a better place that they're supposed to be. And I think about the challenges you all feel out in the field when you're out there and they're all looking at you. They're all looking and seeing what you're going to do. And it's good that they're seeing what you're going to do because they want to see whether you've been trained properly, if you do the right things and do it at the right time. General Powell just recently died, and I remember a statement he made one time when he was at one of the conferences I was at. And he said, when they first lead, they lead because you have the authority. You've been trained. You went to West Point and you were able to make it through there. Then people have to follow you because of command. And he says, second, he said, they follow you then because you have successes. When you have successes, people follow you because they feel that by he's had some successes, we'll follow him. But he says you really got them when they follow you because they're curious what you're going to do. And he said the greatest thing was when people followed me because they were curious what I was going to do and what I was going to perform and do out in the field. So you've all been promoted. You've all had growth. And I think all of you could have stories about the things that you did that were not the best at the time. But over time, you've learned and you've become better officers and sergeants because of that. I'm always proudest when we promote from within and we have people rise to the event of getting better in what they're doing and leading within the police force. As many of you know or don't know, we have one of the finest police forces in the United States. We're one of the finest police forces that you will ever see. And during the flood of 2009, I always loved it because I had a couple patrol officers that would come by my house and just say hi. And I say, how it's going? And they said, never be more proud of how we're doing. So you join in a light force, the Fargo Police Force, because you're the finest, and we always believe you'll do the right thing and do the things you need to do to protect the citizens of our community. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Mayor. So one of the most important pieces of any successful organizational puzzle is small team leadership. Small team leadership, the different teams, the different units that make up our large organization, and the Mayor's exactly right. We are one of the best law enforcement organizations in the country, and we're going to continue to improve and get better. Part of that is the infusion of new leadership. All right, so first of all, having someone with the commitment and the effort, not solely for the basis of financial gain, to take that next step in their career to help lead an organization as dynamic and stressful as a law enforcement organization is a big deal. So we had a lot of really, really good applicants that applied for these positions. And there was a lot of tough vetting that went on. And we're adding some really quality people to our organization in those small team units. So if you think about the larger police department, there's different divisions, you work your way down, there's different units, there's different shift teams. Each one of those is led by a sergeant, and the sergeant is reporting to a lieutenant. Those folks hold the keys to setting the bar of excellence, to making sure that people are properly guided, developed, led, that they have the resources that they need to do the job. They're also responsible to kind of make sure that the environment is supportive for the people that are working for them. Each unit, each team has its own challenges and its own role within the organization. But as each team starts to pull the rope in the same direction as the larger organization, we have a high-performing law enforcement department. And that's the goal, to get every one of these small teams geared in the same direction, pulling the rope in the same direction, building cohesion among those different teams, across divisions throughout the department. That's how we get things done efficiently. That's how we create an environment in which people like coming to work, because actually, as hard as the job is, you can have a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun serving the public, and still accomplishing the goal. So these sergeants and lieutenants on a 24/7 basis are out there leading all these folks. 2/3 of the day, they're the department. You know, the executive staff is here largely during daytime into maybe early evening hours most of the time. So 2/3 of the day, they are the decision makers out on the street and here in the department. Our lieutenants that have shift commander responsibilities are in essence running the city on their individual shifts. They have all of those responsibilities, from managing all of that to making sure that command personnel above them are notified, making sure there's adequate resources for critical incidents, and then managing their team. Out on the street, the sergeants serve a very important first-line supervisor role. And one thing that's consistent in all of our promotees is that they had a background in training. Nearly all of them were police training officers prior to making it to this step, which also shows their dedication to our profession and the development of other officers and future leaders. They're setting the pace by leading by example. Positivity in the workforce is a very important thing as well. So you can go into a room and be what they would call a thermometer. Okay, it's about 65. It should be a little warmer, but it's not. Or you can be the thermostat. It's 65. What's going on? We need to maybe address some things. Something's not right. Let's get in a position where we're all warm and comfortable and get the job done. So we need folks who are willing to do that. Sometimes that entails difficult conversations with people who used to be our peers. And as you enter into a new leadership role, the best advice I can give you is continue to do what you have done that has gotten you to this point, recognizing the importance of taking care of your personnel and balancing that with the importance of accountability and effectiveness in terms of our public service. So these are very critical roles, and I'm very excited and proud of all of the folks that we're going to be promoting here today, because they will have a significant effect on the future of the department. The other thing that's really exciting is that we are creating some new opportunities for individuals that have not had these opportunities before. And we're starting to set that example in terms of how do you get to this position? What are the expectations and requirements? Because promotion is not just a raise in pay. It is an increase in expectation and accountability. And it requires extra effort, right? So I think we all recognize that. The folks that you are leading, as you develop, many of you will be going to new teams. Develop those relationships a little more in depth with those teams and find out what's going on and what makes them tick and how we get them in sync with all the other teams. You will start to develop, as the mayor referred to, that transformational leadership, in a sense, where people understand where we're going, they believe in what you're doing as their leader, and they are following you, not because they necessarily have to, but because they want to. That's a big piece of getting into a new team and developing relationships, and it's a big piece of organizational change and growth. So let's talk a little bit about some of today's leaders that we're going to be promoting. Mike Sandin's a 14-year veteran. His leadership was instrumental in establishing the Fargo Police Academy program and in putting together a number of new training processes for the department. Again, connecting the training to the development of our department, it's a big piece. And a lot of times when things get tight budget-wise, in a lot of departments, training's cut. That hurts the organization immensely because we need to be able to continuously train. There are constant changes in our environment, both within a community, within the law, policy, etc. We have to have the ability to train quickly, train to current day status, without adversely affecting our ability to serve the public. Mike's been a large part of that, and we appreciate his efforts there. In his new role as lieutenant, he's going to continue to remain in the training and development unit, although I look forward to getting his leadership out into other areas of the department as well. Matt Christensen, also a 19-year veteran, for the past several years has been in charge of our narcotics unit. Under his leadership, the unit has excelled in seizures and arrests as we work diligently to address the insidious effects of narcotics, drug trafficking, and human trafficking in our city. Matt is very well thought of across the department. He developed some, the narcotics newsletter that he pushed out because he recognized that not everyone in the department recognized what was happening in narcotics. Not unusual. As we get into our individual teams, what we're doing is always the most important, and we're always the busiest. So we always look at someone else and go, oh, they're not that busy, and we're really busy, and what's going on? So recognizing that, Matt put that newsletter together so that people in the department not only knew what was going on and how busy they were, but I think it also provided them a lot of intelligence information about folks that had been arrested and involved in drug and human trafficking. So nice job on that. In his new role as our shift commander on the evening shift, so this is going to be a change of pace for Matt, going back to patrol. I look forward to his leadership and infusion of positivity as we grow our young department. He served in a variety of roles leading up to this juncture, but I'm really excited to see him out there with our evening shift folks who are a lot of our younger, newer officers who I think will benefit greatly not only from his experience and knowledge, but the manner in which he gets the job done. Mike Bernier, also a 19-year veteran, served in a variety of assignments throughout the course of his career. His leadership has greatly assisted the smooth transition of a new shift schedule in 2020 that provided a better work-life balance for our officers while ensuring additional staffing during times when they are most needed. Mike is also very well respected across the board, comes with a lot of attributes. In his new role as our day shift commander, he has the substantial task of making sure that we, again, lead and guide our most experienced officers. So as you can imagine, our day shift crew are the most senior. They need someone who understands from that perspective that can effectively lead, guide, and make sure that things are getting done, while also collaborating with our many community and business organizations. I think Mike's a really good pick to put in that position as we continue forward with some of our organizational change. Shane Aberly, also an 18-year veteran, also served in a number of different roles throughout his career. Formerly, he was the sergeant of the Office of Professional Standards, which has now been transitioned. And Shane's leadership and dedication have helped shape that into our new Professional Accountability Unit, making review and investigative processes more robust and efficient, while also ensuring fair and appropriate accountability. And so Shane, for a long time, was a one-man show trying to do all of these things in what was OPS. Over the last year, we've vastly expanded that to add a captain and a lieutenant. Shane will now fill the role of lieutenant and be in a position to continue to further the PAU and mentor the next new sergeant so that once that's done, we can get him out and give him his next new leadership role in a different part of the department. So I think it's really important that as people progress, we don't stay in one position for a long time. We want to be able to have everyone get a very good understanding of department operations. So Shane went from a one-man show to now it's a three-person show, and we've been able to create a lot of efficiencies in what we do, which is good for the officers in terms of use of force turnarounds and things of that nature, good for the community in terms of our transparency and accountability with internal investigations. And one last little attribute that I just feel compelled to mention, Shane is a Packer fan. So there was no points for that, but, you know, it's just a good thing. Our sergeant's Travis Berger, a 9-year veteran in the training and development unit. He has worked extensively in recruitment as well. Travis has put in just an immense amount of hours, time, dedication. I apologize to his wife a little bit, in terms of getting this accomplished, because he also understands the value of what he's doing, and he can see the success it's having as we add new members to our department and we continue to grow and get better. As I sit through new officer interviews, if I had $1 for every time someone said, I talked to, not for long, Officer Travis Berger, he met me for coffee, he told me about the department, he gave me a very positive perspective, told me what the benefits were, and that's why I decided to come and work here. I would have enough money to buy a Bitcoin, which are going for about 65 grand right now. So, excellent job on all of that. In his role now as sergeant, he will also remain in training and development. We're coming up to a very busy time frame with our academy applicants opening up. We've got a bunch of lateral transfers that are in process to be interviewed and vetted. So again, we're working very feverishly in that area to keep up with the recruitment and retention of our department. Lucas Mock, 5.5-year veteran, also served in a number of different roles. He also is on our shift representative team, and which is a group across the board that meets monthly with myself and the assistant chief to make sure that we have communications throughout the department, both sworn and civilian, so that we can identify issues that are significant and that may need our attention or that maybe we were unaware of. Lucas has also put in a ton of time and effort into this whole academy and recruitment piece. Recently just had a new baby there added to the family, so I guess you didn't put in that much time, but I mean, you found enough time, so okay, that's good. Congratulations on that. But again, it's been real critical to that effort. He will actually, I'm excited about this because he's going to be going out as a sergeant to our night shift. Again, probably most likely our youngest officers. Working those overnight hours, that'll be a little change of pace. But I'm very excited about getting Lucas out into this environment and kind of taking the reins of leadership at that first line street level position. I think that'll be really good for the officers there. Jennifer Gustafson, 5.5-year veteran. She was formerly our canine officer, Canine Toby, which was an explosives dog as well as a tracking dog. She was also on our Vision, Mission, and Values Committee, which helped formulate those very important guiding principles for our department. She's also been really an outstanding informal leader in a number of different roles, and she will be going over to our evening shift patrol area, where again, I think her experience, her knowledge, her very thoughtful approach to things. It's interesting when you interview people and you kind of watch their responses and how the wheels start turning in their head. And Jennifer's got a very thoughtful process. She weighs out all her options, thinks about it, comes up, here's what I would do, which is really great. And I think that's what we need. And our officers, some of them need that kind of guidance and mentorship as well. So we're looking forward to getting her out there on evening shift. Alden Golos, 6.5-year veteran, formerly was working in our narcotics unit, extremely successful there, did a lot of great work. He's also been a training officer, as have all of the other folks. But done an outstanding job there. His commitment to leadership in our department really stood out in the interview process. Just an extremely positive individual, but with a lot of knowledge and mentorship capability. He also stepped forward last year during that process. He assisted, as did others, as an ambassador when we were running the chief's process. And so he's the guy I called to figure out where I should go eat, because I didn't know where to eat. And his recommendations were good, so that worked out, right? But really excited to see him out there. He's going to our evening shift as well, again, to kind of immerse himself with some of our newest officers and help lead some of our organizational change. And then lastly, Michael Anderson, 6.5-year veteran, currently working in investigations. Michael, also very thorough and adept at what he does, served in a number of different assignments during his 6.5 years, but also very committed to the same ideals. And all of these folks, as is Michael, really understand what's necessary to kind of train and build the next generation of officer, because at some point, all of us have to leave, retire, whatever, right? And so we want to pass the reins off to someone we know will do as good, if not better. The goal is always better than what we were able to accomplish. And so he's very, very thoughtful in that process. He's done some outstanding investigations during his time there, and he'll be able to bring the benefit of the investigative background back to patrol, where he's going to be assigned initially on our day shift, but ultimately, as some other pieces of the puzzle fall in place, will likely go to mid shift as well. So he's going to days to fill a slot, which is great, but those hours won't last forever, right, Mike? Yeah. So appreciate that. appreciate all your efforts there. Just kind of recap, remember that what you do as leaders matters all of the time, right? So everyone will be watching you going forward. You have a huge piece of the organizational, not just change, but morale and the ability to pass up questions and get answers and bring them back to address issues. That's kind of the expectation, right? And sometimes, again, that involves some difficult conversations that you have to be able to sit down and have. As a department, I think we're pretty mature in doing that, but as people move into new positions, it's a difficult thing. So keep that in mind, and don't forget that you always have other people above you to rely upon if you're in a position like that and you don't know how to handle it, okay? Because it's important that we handle those things the right way. I'm extremely proud of all of you for this accomplishment, and again, really look forward to getting you into those positions. So let's move forward and get you going on that with our badge pinning. So every one of our promotees has decided who's going to pin their badge on. So what we're going to do is I'll bring them up individually. We'll do the badge pinning. They'll get a nice little photo here. And then we're just going to have them stand off to the side. At the end, we've got an oath of honor that we're going to administer to all of them. So let's start with our lieutenants. Michael Sandin and his daughter, Leah, is going to be pinning his badge on. All right, kiddo. All set? Nice job. Another thing that's good in training is the excellent exhibiting of physical fitness, because I don't know how long you could stay in that position, but you did good. So, nice work. Matt Christensen and his stepdaughter, Emma Cullen. Mike Bernier and his wife, Wendy. Shane Aberly and his wife, Tiffany. Okay, so those are our four newest lieutenants. Let's give one more quick round of applause here. Okay, being promoted to sergeant, Travis Berger and his wife Kristen is going to do the pinning. Lucas Mock and his wife Abigail. That's it. Jennifer Gustafson and a friend, Officer Andrea Knoll. Alden Golos and his father, Mirsad. And Michael Anderson with wife Lori and daughter Natalie. Okay, nice work, everybody. I was going to administer the law enforcement oath of honor. If you would just repeat after me, raise your right hand. On my honor, I will never betray my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect and ensure that my actions are dedicated to ensuring the safety of my community and the preservation of human life. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always maintain the highest ethical standards and uphold the values of my community and the agency I serve. Congratulations to our newest sergeants and lieutenants. Nice job. All right, excellent work. Stay right there. We'll do our traditional law enforcement reception line. So if our staff want to make their way up and congratulate our newest lieutenants and sergeants. After that, we'll break here, and anyone that wants pictures, we're going to get a group photo here with everyone, command staff, exec staff, and then we'll get family photos as well. Thank you for coming, everybody.